Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will read the updates of the story of man who wife cheated on him with his stepfather so she could get the $1 million mansion, but little did she know that mansion belonged to the poster. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I highly recommend watching it on our channel first to fully understand the story and its progression. This is a 2-part story, so be sure to like and subscribe for part 2. Let's get started. Update 1. It took 10 days for the lawyer to send the divorce papers. Saya was just not ready to sign the papers and wanted a discussion. My lawyer suggested that we go for an out-of-court settlement if possible because that would substantially reduce our time and money. See, I'm a sales guy with a regular job. I have a certain limit in funds that I spend on lawyers and also limited leaves to attend the court case, so I agreed to a meeting in the lawyer's presence, but when I went for the meeting, she insisted on having a private conversation with me. I resisted, but my lawyer asked me to go for it, but not to say or commit to anything she demanded. He laid out a certain framework to keep my meeting within it, like no touching, no hugging, no confessions at all. I felt disgusted at her presence. She tried to hug me, but I pushed her away. She said it was all a misunderstanding. After reading so many cheating stories on Reddit, I know what all cheaters say. I was like, yeah, sure, you were trying to help out a poor old man from his loneliness, right? She said whatever Keith saw was true, and she is not denying it, but it was only cuddling and nothing else. Yes, of course, cuddling without clothes, but this was not enough. What she said next blew my mind. She said she did that to safeguard our future. Really? How the hell? She was like, see, your mom left all her wealth to Andrew, and now if he marries someone else, that woman would be entitled to that wealth. Your family's property would go to someone else. I said, that's why you slept with my stepdad? So that you can become my stepmother and take my mother's wealth? Do you see the complexities in this family dynamic? I was feeling dizzy with her BS, so I stormed out of the meeting room. After I came back, my lawyer asked for the details of the conversation, and I told him everything. He cracked up for a moment, but he was interested in knowing about the inheritance my mother had left. My mom had left a house that she had inherited from her uncle. It was a huge mansion, way beyond my means. Interestingly, Kaya always had an eye on that mansion after our marriage. She even insisted that we move into the mansion. I was happy that Kaya wanted to move in with my mother, but no, Saya wanted my mom to move out to my apartment and we took up her mansion. But I denied it. It was her house and why should she leave? Saya said that I was the only son of my mom, so that house would come to me. So why not move in there right now? This led to frequent fights between us. One day, I just lied to her that my mom had willed that house to Andrew, and you see what price I had to pay for that lie. Kia went after my stepdad so that she could have the house. There was one more piece of information that Saya didn't know. After my mom's demise, I didn't transfer the ownership of the house to my name. I wanted Andrew to live there until he wanted to. By transferring it to my name, it would be like he was living in my property, and I'm sure he was not going to like it. Also, the name transfer is expensive, and I was running short of money during that time, so I let it be. I'm glad I did not transfer it because Saya would have been entitled to half of the property during our divorce, or probably she wouldn't have slept with Andrew in that case. I don't know, but a cheater is always a cheater in any situation. Yeah, my mom had willed that house to me, but Kaya didn't know that. Saya wanted me to have second thoughts about the divorce. She said that she would soon lure Andrew to gift her that house, and if I don't divorce her, the mansion would be ours. I laughed at her proposal and said, no, thank you for the offer. Good luck with your mansion. She smirked and said, you're losing a lot by this divorce. I smiled and said, I don't give a fuck. I don't know if she was really that dumb always or if she was just acting to save her ass from the humiliation, but I don't care. Saya knew that I had no substantial wealth except for the savings in our joint account, which was split and divided between us. I'm feeling so relieved after the divorce was finalized. Any moment if Saya got to know the truth about the ownership of the mansion, she would have never divorced me, and I cannot share my mom's inheritance with that whore. Saya dug her grave by confessing her intentions behind dating Andrew, because I was going to use that against her to drive Andrew away from her life. I saw Andrew picking her up from the court and assisting her with all legal matters during our divorce. I was just waiting for the divorce to be over to burst her bubble and then see her reaction. Now that it is done, the next thing I'm going to do is destroy my love, Kaya. Update 2. After my divorce was finalized, I texted the details of Kaya's confession to Andrew. He was like, "You know that your mom is going to will this mansion to you?" I said, "Yeah, I have her will, but Sia doesn't know, and she is going to ask you to give the mansion to her." I was not doing any good service to him by revealing the truth. I just wanted to burst Sia's bubble. The poor girl was dreaming of having my mom's mansion. Andrew told me that of late, Saya was indirectly asking him about his will and who was going to get his inheritance, but he never understood her intentions because he didn't have any wealth to his name. I didn't want to have any bro code with Andrew, so I left the conversation at that note. After a while, I got a call from Sia. Usually, I wouldn't have responded to it, but this time I did because I knew what it was about. She was yelling from the other end, "Why didn't you tell me that your mother had willed the house to your name? I was sucking this old man's ass quite literally to safeguard your property, and you a a-hole destroyed me instead." I was just laughing at her abuses because it was coming from a place of hurt. I said, "Thank you so much and good luck with your Elkin game." I hung up the call and blocked her. A few days later, she called me again from an unknown number, maybe from her friends or colleagues. She told me that Andrew had broken up with her. Somehow, he got to know that she was with him just for the inheritance, and now when the truth came out, he dumped her. He called her a greedy whore. She was abusing him and said she was trying to help him cope with the loneliness, yet he turned against her. I don't know why she was still trying to pose herself as a pious woman when her truth had already come out. I sarcastically replied that yes, she had been sucking everyone selflessly and only for the other's good with no underlying intention. She said she was with Andrew for my sake so that she could get the mansion for me. And now she is saying that she was trying to help Andrew cope with the loss and loneliness. Wow, such a pure soul she was. She didn't give up there. She tried all means to contact me, pleading with me, sometimes gaslighting me to get back together. She showed up at my house, my office, and even at some of the regular public places I went. Yeah, it's so unbelievable that she showed up at my gym and tried to corner me to speak to her. It was a hell of a nightmare, but I ignored her as if she was just a stranger to me. Technically, she was a stranger because our divorce was over. Update 3. I thought that this saga was over, but my past popped out as soon as I changed the ownership of the mansion to my name. God knows what was her obsession with the house. I mean, yeah, it's understandable. Who would not want $1 million mansion to their name? But I don't know how long it would take for her to accept the reality. After 6 months of my divorce, I decided to transfer the mansion to my name. As I wrote earlier, I wasn't doing it until then because I didn't have enough savings to spare for that ownership transfer. Now that I was divorced and my expenses were reduced substantially, I was able to save up the transfer amount in 4 to 5 months. Before applying for the transfer, I informed Andrew about it. He was anyway not living in that house anymore after I got to know about his affair with Kia. I didn't ask him to vacate, though, but he responded that he would take away his remaining belongings from the house, and he did that. He made me the admin of the locking system of the house. It took a couple of months for the paperwork to be ready, and meanwhile, I got it painted. The lawn and the pool were also not maintained for a long time, so I got all of them cleaned. I was in contact with Kaya, and as per the last conversation I had with her, Andrew had also broken up with her. So I was perplexed when she showed up at the mansion during one of the cleaning days. I wasn't there, and the cleaning manager called me that a woman had come down and she was roaming around in the house. They tried to stop her from entering, but she told them she was my wife. Ha ha ha, yeah, but the way she was feeling the walls and interiors of the house, they suspected her to be a trespasser. Indeed she was, and I told them to kick her out, stating that I had no wife. They did as told and then gave me a confirmatory call that the woman was out of the house. No prize for guessing if she showed up at my house. Yes, she did. She was crying and wailing that I had abandoned her when she did no wrong and that her intentions were pure. I told her to seek therapy and that she needed to check into a mental hospital instead of my house. She wanted me to let her inside the house and have a conversation, but I didn't. I closed the door on her face. I have also taken a restraining order against Sia on my mansion property. The chances of her sneaking into that place or vandalizing it were low because she had not been violent yet. Still, I didn't trust her, and I had to do this to safeguard the interests of the new tenants of that house. I don't want Saya to trouble them unnecessarily. It has been smooth until now, and I hope I don't have to make any further updates on this thread. I want Saya's chapter to end so that I can move on with my life. And that's the end of this story. What do you guys think about the whole story? Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you guys on the next video.